Hi, I'm Harry. Welcome to the channel. Today's video is about easy hard work. We're going to talk about what it is, why it's important, and how you can get to a situation in your own life where you can be doing easy hard work. So what is it? What is easy hard work? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? Essentially, it's hard work. You can be working 40, 50 hours a week, but you're finding it easy. You're not finding it a grind. And it's most likely because it's something you're passionate about, or that you're enthralled by, or that you're interested in. It's something that I haven't really experienced until recently. Why is easy hard work important? It's important because the average person will work around 90,000 hours during their lives. 90,000 hours. Let's do some quick maths.
Boom! 2 + 2 is 4, -1, that's 3, quick maths.
So 90,000 divided by 24. Oh Jesus. So that's 3,750 days. 3,750 days. Basically, it's a lot of time. Like it or not, we're going to spend a large proportion of our lives working. Now, do you want to just grind? Do you want to just grind day in, day out and just work for a means to an end, which is what most people are doing? You can do that, but it's only going to propel you for so long, and it's ultimately going to make you feel unsatisfied and not really give you any vigor for life. Essentially, it's important for you to find something that you can do that you're going to enjoy, because you're going to spend so much of your time doing it, and life is too short to be doing things that you don't like. So how can you get to a situation where you could be doing easy hard work if you're not already? The answer to that is going to be different for everyone, because everyone has different interests, everyone's character is different. But there is a through line. There is definitely one characteristic I can say that you will need to achieve a status of doing easy hard work in your day-to-day life. That through line ingredient is courage. Too many people get comfortable. Too many people get stuck in habitual routines. Too many of us, to count, get stuck in our own routines and making ends meet and just working as a means to an end, without that fulfillment you get when you're doing something that means something to you, that's in tune with who you are, like what I'm creating at the moment, which I'll talk about in a second. So courage is the ability to take a leap of faith. A leap of faith, often in yourself. A lot of times people will just feel that they're incapable, they'll get imposter syndrome, they'll feel that they can't reach for more, but you can, and the only trap is in your mind. We make our own prisons in there sometimes, and it's up to you to pick that lock and get out of it yourself. And the main thing to do is to have courage, have bravery, have conviction. How am I getting there? Over the past few months, my wife and I have been developing an application. Now, we're dentists, we're not software developers, but we came up with this idea, well, she did actually, a couple of years ago. And with the events of 2020, we found ourselves with plenty of time on our hands, so we had time to flesh this idea out and start to reach out to people and get the lay of the land and find a developer and push it and put money into it and investment and try to make this thing happen. And the main reason for that is because we believe in the concept, we believe in what we're doing. We've poured hours and hours and hours into this project, but you don't really feel it. I've even got situations where I've put hours and hours into the project for something that's ended up being meaningless. But when you love what you're doing, you just shake it off and move on to the next thing. I'm fortunate that I found something that I believe in, that a project, an endeavor that I think can help the world, that can help a portion of society. Also, the satisfaction in utilizing my creativity, in bouncing ideas off one another, in really trying to make something happen from nothing. In short, if you believe in what you're doing, you will enjoy it. And if you think that you're making a positive impact on the world, even better. Know yourself. As I'm growing older, I'm learning all the time about a lot of things, but I'm also learning about who I actually am and what I like. I know that sounds silly, doesn't it? You should know that, but sometimes you don't. For example, my brother, who I mentioned in the last video, was a mentor of mine when I was younger. He said to me that I had a self-destruct button. Now, when I look back on that, I don't think he was a million miles away from the truth, but he wasn't on the dot with the truth. The reality is I didn't have a self-destruct button. I like creating situations that were extremely challenging, because there's an element of me that enjoys that. In the last video I said I love my job. I do, I enjoy my job. However, there's one aspect of the job that I really enjoy, and that is dental implant placements. And the reason I really enjoy it is because it's often really challenging to practically plan things out and execute that plan for my patients. So is it that I love placing dental implants, or is it that I love the challenge of doing that? And there is a distinction there. And this is what I'm saying about knowing yourself and starting to find out who you are. And once you do, you get a better feeling of where you'd be best suited. And often you won't know this when you're a teenager or when you're early 20s. Often you won't. Most people will find this out as they're going into their 30s and maybe even your 40s. It's this understanding that can help you to get yourself into a situation that allows you to be doing easy hard work. Who doesn't want to wake up with a smile every morning thinking about what they've got to do? Who doesn't want to not have any blue Mondays? You just get up and you're raring to go. Now, it's not like that all the time, even when you're doing a project you believe in, but it's much more of that than it was before. Who wouldn't want that? I want it. You want it. I want it for you. Often people talk about, who do you want to be? I would change that question to, who are you? Do you even know yourself properly? Sometimes you'll talk to people around you like I do with my wife and realize that I'm doing certain things that I wasn't aware of, or that I have certain character traits that maybe I hadn't clicked onto. But when they tell you it, you can say, hang on, yeah, I do see that actually. I even took a personality test, and the questions were revealing a lot to me about who I was. So I'd advise you doing that, and I'll put one in the description below. Post your comments as to what you came out as. In the last video, I talked about perception versus reality. Here I'm talking about perception versus reality with who you actually are. Who do you perceive yourself to be, and who are you actually in reality? And only when you understand deeply who you are and what actions you take, can you make any true changes. So before anybody asks you, who do you want to be in 10 years? Forget that. Figure out who you are now. And only when you do that can you make some steps in a positive direction. So I thought it'd be good to end the video with a bit of information about the application that we're working on. It's called Teeth.app, and what it's going to do is revolutionize the way that patients interact with dental practices. And I'm super passionate about improving access to care and also to digitize a lot of these systems that are in place, because to be honest, dentistry's fallen quite far behind in that part of it. We adopt technology really well in the surgeries with 3D scanning and 3D milling and things, but on the administration side we're way behind. So the application we're working on is really going to make a big difference. The reason I'm dressed like this is because we've just been in a pitch. Because of the current environment, it's an online pitch. This knowledge of being a startup is going to lead to a lot of interesting content over the next few months, because I'll be able to give you an insight into something I had no idea about before. Like, I'm finding myself in Dragon's Den-esque situations a lot more regularly than I could ever have foreseen before. And the goal is to get investment so that we can make our dream, our vision, a reality, and truly help people out there with accessing dental care. Please take the personality test that I've put in the description below and let me know what your results were. I could even do a conversation based on that. So I'll try my best to be in the comments, and I hope you will find this video useful. Like, share and subscribe, it'll help us out. And in terms of my next video, what I'm going to be covering is why I've never failed an interview. Never failed an interview, and I want to explain why and kind of my process behind how I approach interviews and also why that makes me successful. Thank you for your time today.